Hello everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at Dinner with the Parents, which is a US remake of Friday Night Dinner. Now, they've actually attempted to remake Friday Night Dinner a few times. Most didn't make it past development stage, and one iteration actually had a pilot, but this is the first attempt to actually make it to a full series. And what do you know? It's a flop. It launched on Amazon's Freevee service and has been cancelled after one series, and I think that's for the best. So, to lay the scene, I really like Friday Night Dinner. When I first watched it when it came out, I didn't initially warm to it. I think this is because I watched it straight after watching Simon Bird in The Inbetweeners. My brain at that time sort of expected him to be playing a similar sort of role. Since it was different, I left it unwatched for quite a long time before revisiting it one day and really loving it. It's just a really funny show, well made, and they really nail the character dynamics perfectly to teeter just on the edge of a dysfunctional yet believably cohesive family. It's a difficult line to toe, but the original does it so well. The other thing that made the original work so well, I think, is that it is entirely the creation of one person. Robert Popper created the show and wrote every episode. This is somewhat unusual for long-running television series where creators might do the outlines but get other writers to fill in the middle. Because the original was written all by one person, the show feels so cohesive. He clearly understands all of the characters and everything they would do in each scene, so it just works so well. The remake follows a lot of other comedy productions in that it has a lead writer and then lots of other writers too. In fact, I found it a little strange that at the start of the first episode it says it was created by John Beckerman rather than adapted by, and it's only right at the end they put a little note that it's based on Friday Night Dinner. Now, this isn't exactly unusual, but I thought I'd point it out. So this version of the show changes quite a few of the family dynamics that we have come to understand from the original. Let's start by talking about the two brothers, which in this version are called Greg and David. The first major difference between them is that there is a much larger age gap than in the original, where they are much closer in age. This creates a slightly different dynamic in which the younger brother, Greg, is the one mostly messing with his older brother, whereas in the original, they were on a much more equal footing with the jokes they played on each other. In the original, they felt like brothers that had never really grown up, just constantly doing things to each other they thought were funny in the moment, but at the end of the day, because they both did it equally, they still had each other's back. In this one, because the older one is much more likely to be the recipient, it feels a little more sad. They go out of their way to make it seem like the older one, David, is more of a geek, a little bit more socially outcast, and this ends up creating a slight victim-bully dynamic than one of brotherly bickering. The other difference that came with the age gap is that Greg still lives at home and seems a lot more deceitful than in the original. He even mentions at one point his plans to fleece his parents out of money, which makes the character somewhat unlikable.
Someone like you would never be into David. That would be like a beautiful gazelle mating with David. So he must be after his money. But David ain't got money. You're after my parents' money. Oh, well, guess what? So am I, okay? So let's work together, right? Maybe I'll be your man on the inside. Come on, come in. Give me a taste. Let me wet my beak.
They're also a bit more open with each other in terms of their feelings, and David even gives his parents a big hug and tells them he misses them, something we wouldn't see happen in the original, as Adam is generally a lot more reserved with his emotions.
Come here.
Are you gonna hug your parents voluntarily? We just want things to work out with you and Kristen.
Yeah, we know how much you struggle.
Yeah.
Struggle?
Well, with dating.
And you're not gonna make me say...
Of course not. And anyway, I don't need you to say I love you, because I know you love me. I know you love your mother. Your mum.
In terms of the brothers, the jokes they play on each other are also a lot more tame. In the first episode, they shoot each other with water guns, and in another one, it's apparently a gotcha moment when they creep up on each other. Compare this to some of the antics the original two play on each other.
Of your moves! What's up, David? How's your flight? Was it good?
From you, thanks.
You shitty plot!
Stop it! That's it! Bath time for baby bus face!
Stop it!
brotherly dynamic just feels a little bit more forced in this one and just isn't as fun to watch. Let's look at some of the other changes. The parents are now called Jane and Harvey, and again, the changes to them don't really work. Jane is portrayed as being a bit of a live, laugh, love person and has a lot of foibles in her relationship with her mother and sister. In the original, Jackie was the character just trying to hold everything together and have a nice dinner, occasionally getting pulled into some of the chaos, but largely the chaos happened around her. Jane seems a little bit more ambivalent to it in this respect, but that is partially because the chaos is a lot more muted in general. Harvey, the new Martin, just doesn't work. Instead of the truly unique character we get in Martin, a guy that eats too much parsley and hides cheese in the toilet, Harvey is sort of just an amalgamation of dad jokes. He tells bad jokes, tells people he's in a cover band, and just generally has really forced comedy.
Yeah, it's just my side hustle, though. My real deal's music. You know, I got a great little cover band with a couple of cool dudes from my practice. You know, it's called you're gonna love this, the Spin Dentists.
An example of this is where he wears a shirt with his own face on. Are you laughing yet? Now we come on to Nana, which is a replacement of Grandma from the original. In the original, the Nan characters were very much side characters, who occasionally joined the dinner or had some episode storylines take place around them. In this one, she is a main character who lives with them, and it doesn't seem like they have any idea what to do with her. She is played by Carol Kane, which is quite disappointing, as I love this actress in other things. I think she can be really funny. In this role, though, she is given a thick Russian accent, which at times is practically unintelligible.
She did hen turkeys. Among other things.
But look. This is my other daughter, Emma Kurtzman.
And basically acts as if she is in a 90s sitcom with a laugh track.
We are sophisticated. We are mother.
Good one, yes?
For instance, when they are having dinner, she gets stuck in a massage chair. I can almost hear the canned laughter.
3.
Finally, we have Donnie, and this is the most baffling change. In the original, Jim is one of the strangest characters ever to appear on telly. He does some truly weird things, but because he has this childlike innocence around him, you can kind of empathise with the character in a way. Donnie just acts rude and a bit lecherous, and instead of being a harmless yet incredibly strange person, is just a bit of a dick.
Donnie.
Jane, geez, old man, you are looking beautiful tonight.
Thank you so much. Hey, you know what?
Here's my situation, Jane, is I ordered a pizza. Right, got a large. That's out of habit.
Look, Donnie, I gotta get back in there.
Well, here's my conundrum, Jane. See, the pizza never came. They must have got the wrong house, because
I don't
this
know.
is the app. See that blinking motor scooter? That's a delivery person, and they're all right at your place.
Okay.
It's interesting that in both this and the Spaced remake, they've been unable to find anyone that can manage to replicate the kind of energy Mark Heap brings to a role. Because of all the changes I've just mentioned, the dynamics of the family are just not as fun. Greg picks on his older brother, and we feel sorry for him. The dad is telling bad jokes, which I suppose we are supposed to find unfunny in a funny way, but they're just unfunny, whilst Nana wanders around doing her own show. All of these elements work against each other, and they never come together in the way the original did. They also made some writing decisions which I think let the show down. In the original, the show was almost entirely focused around the dinners and the actions at the dinners, and we learned the characters from those actions. We weren't always told too much about them, but left to interpret them as people from what we saw. Dinner with the Parents goes in a different direction, instead giving us lots of exposition from the go, which comes across as pretty contrived.
On account of my recent divorce 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dentist.
Not anymore. I'm not the geeky kid that left here 6 years ago, okay? I'm a grown man with a serious girlfriend, and I would appreciate being treated like an adult.
Let me ask you this, Mom. Who took you in when Dad died, huh? Was it Amy? Was it Amy? I don't think so.
They tell us things we never knew in the original. We don't really know any of the characters' backstories, and we never find out Martin's job. But in this one, it's all laid out on the table for us. In the first episode, the plot is that David is returning home after being away and is bringing his girlfriend back with him. If she exists, his brother promises to stop messing with him for all time. Greg eats whipped cream in the background in a slight homage to the original. You'll notice from the off that the general lighting of the house is a lot more dark. In the original, for the first series, it was quite bright and white, and in subsequent series, it was still bright but had more of a warmer tone. In this one, it's always dark inside, which feels a little more dingy despite the gigantic house they seem to live in. So David gets dumped and hires a pizza delivery person to pretend to be his girlfriend at the dinner. They do some bad jokes. Dad tells the fake that he is a dentist, so more things happen. They take some of the jokes from the original, like this bit where Nana tells the mother to go to her room.
Okay, what is wrong with you?
Don't make that way. Go to your room.
Mom, I'm a grown woman, so I'm not going to go to my room.
I am your mother, and I am telling you go to your room.
Maybe you should go to your room.
No. Go to your room.
No. Go to your room.
Go to your room.
No, go to your room.
Go!
Right. That's it. Go to your room.
What?
Go to your room.
Go to my room?
You heard me. Go to your room.
No, I'm not going to go to my room.
You will go to your room.
No, it's not funny.
Yes.
No, you go to your room.
What?
You go to your room.
But I don't have a room.
Exactly.
What do you mean?
Mum, I'm not going to my room. This is my house. I'm a grown woman, for Christ's sakes.
Unlike the original, this isn't earned. We don't have lots of build-up of rising tensions, and it just feels like it comes out of nowhere. So the real Kristen comes, they have a big fight, Nana comes down the stairs like a vampire, and the dad is sick on David because he ate some spicy chicken wings. Then the episode ends, but not before they reference the original. This show is just a mess. The thing about remakes is that they can learn from any mistakes the original had over its run. In the original, things did change over time. Jim started off weird but relatively human before becoming practically insane by the final episodes. They had a lot of material to work with too, lots of jokes from all the different series they could have worked in. It seems though they wanted to retain the relative framework of the original, of the Friday night dinner setting, but wanted to change all the dynamics up and jokes to make it their own. Normally, I'm in favour of shows making things their own. I think straight one-to-one remakes are pointless unless they are for a different language, but I also think if you're going to change everything and not take the best bits from the source material, then you're better off just making an original show. This should be a fun show about a chaotic family and the strange people in their life, but it ends up being a very contrived show about nothing really. It's the definition of blandness. I'm sure much of the cast and crew are talented in their own right, but they just didn't mesh well on this project, and it got cancelled, which was the right decision. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then check out some of the other videos on my channel and subscribe if you are so inclined. I also want to thank my patrons, you guys are awesome, and my Patreon link is on screen now if you want to support me. There's some exclusive stuff on there which I am updating often. Finally, I have some socials if you want to chat with me about anything. Alright, goodbye.